Hey Summoners, this is Dan, and welcome to another Pro Guides video. In this video, we're going to discuss the top 10 champions for carrying solo queue games. While some champions will discuss carry high win rates, others may not. Although win rate is an important factor, our analysts also put into consideration champion design and their specific strengths when deciding on this roster. The champions they picked aren't necessarily easy, so don't expect to pick them up and instantly start dominating your games. They take time, but once mastered, they'll prove themselves as dominant picks that'll help in your climb. As always, feel free to leave any comments or feedback down below because we want to hear from you guys. But before we get started, make sure to go to ProGuides.com if you want to see huge improvement in your rank right now. With their Pro Pass, you get exclusive pro courses, and Pro Guides has a feature called InstaPro, which provides unlimited 24/7 on-demand coaching from the best of the best. Over 100,000 gamers have used InstaPro today and ranked up significantly, so don't miss out on this opportunity and rank up now using the link below. That said, let's begin. At number 10, we're taking a trip to Hook City with Thresh, an iconic support in both solo queue and competitive play. There's no doubt in our minds that he belongs on this list. Several pro players have broken into the competitive scene with their highlight reel-esque plays with Thresh. The Mad Life is a term coined for the namesake player's godlike plays that revolutionized the support role and game altogether. Since his release, many players have complained about how overloaded Thresh's kit was, and we've seen him lose some parts of his kit. Originally, his Lantern would shield every champion, and his ultimate would deal half damage to targets beyond the first. In spite of this, he's a champion whose pick rate has constantly dominated statistics for years now. At the moment, Thresh is sitting smugly at a 50% win rate, and there's always variance. Some patches, his win rate skyrockets, and others it plummets to the point where he seems subpar. It really depends on the meta. However, veteran Thresh players can find ways to carry in every game. The reason Thresh is such a strong solo queue pick is because of how versatile his kit is. Played well, he can dominate even in winning matchups. Played perfectly, he can even turn around losing games. His kit has plenty of lockdown and crowd control, making him excellent at setting up ganks, punishing mistakes, and snowballing leads. Here's the kicker. All of his abilities can function defensively as well. A kit that can thrive under any circumstances is unique, and makes Thresh one of the few champions capable of 1v9ing solo queue games. Next on our list is Kha'Zix. As a solo queue terror, many carry players dread seeing Kha'Zix in the game, whether it's on the enemy team or theirs. While he's been practically non-existent in competitive play this season, he was a pretty hotly contested pick in previous ones. In solo queue, he's still one of the most dominant champions able to take over games by himself. Feast or famine, Kha'Zix is a champion that needs a lot of resources before he comes online. While he's abusable, it's because of his early game squishiness rather than damage. He's definitely still a strong duelist in the early game, especially when fighting against isolated targets. Kha'Zix is one of the strongest solo queue champions because of his burst damage and ability to stealth multiple times. Due to the nature of his design, Kha'Zix is capable of abusing Fog of War, one-shotting enemies on bad rotations, and when they miss position. Another strong mechanic he possesses is his evolutions. Like we mentioned with Thresh, versatility is a great asset for any player trying to carry their games. Kha'Zix is able to opt into different facets of utility based on his needs. For slows and pick making, he can evolve W early. For increased mobility and cleanup potential, he can evolve E. For stronger objective control and dueling, he can evolve Q. And for some extra dueling power, he can evolve his R. There's some unique options with him as well. He can go for a utility bruiser build to soak pressure in team fights, or go for poke build with a W max. It comes as no surprise that the Void Reaver's arch nemesis is on this list too. At number 8, we have Rengar. Quite frankly, Kha'Zix and Rengar are interchangeable in their rankings in this video. Both of them have great pick-making potential, burst damage, and reliable defensive tools. We put Rengar as 8th because his damage is much more front-loaded, and also because his engage range is much longer. Rengar's ultimate is what makes him an unrelenting hard carry. Due to its long duration and speed bonus, he's able to hunt down enemies, even those who are initially rather far from him. While most assassins have some form of mobility, all of them, bar Nocturne, can't match Rengar's pick range. As one of the greatest pick makers in the game, Rengar is able to one-shot carries and turn many situations into a 5v4. Also, by eliminating an enemy carry, he essentially gives his own carries a chance to outperform their enemies by process of elimination. You can't deal damage when you're dead. As an added bonus, he serves as a niche bruiser counter pick in the top lane. The healing he has from his W and empowered W make it difficult for many top laners to trade versus him. Also, by bullying out his opponents, he can commit for solo kills or roam elsewhere on the map, just like jungle Rengar. Our bot lane pick is a fan favorite, Kai'Sa. Sporting an extremely high skill floor and skill ceiling, she's definitely not an easy champion. What makes her great though is that she's a marksman who honestly has it all. And we mean everything. Kai'Sa deals insane damage, can itemize for magic or physical damage, is mobile, and has wave clear. With all these tools in her arsenal, honestly, the sky's kind of the limit for Kai'Sa. Any matchup can snowball in her favor because of her mobility, ability to manage the wave, and her versatile trade patterns. A lot of people meme that ultimately the better player wins, and that's more of a reality with Kai'Sa. Many champions have some limitations or certain matchups that can't be won. Due to her versatility, however, Kai'Sa can honestly make anything possible. On top of all that, she's one of the best late-game hyper carries in the game as a result of her stealth, attack speed steroid, execute, and ultimate. Many marksman players may be scratching their heads, so we'll make an honorable mention for Twitch. In spite of being one of the strongest 1v9 champions in the game, he's just not reliable enough. Unlike Kai'Sa, Twitch doesn't have many options because he's immobile, isn't as strong at trading, and can't clear waves as well. In the right team comp or lane matchup, Twitch can definitely thrive and abuse his insane damage output. Overall, however, he's not strong enough for us to rank him in this video. Number 6 on our list is Pyke. In spite of recent nerfs pushing him out of solo games, Pyke is still one of the most unique and strongest solo queue champions. Although he doesn't bring much defensive utility to the team, he goes hard offensively. Essentially, he's able to provide pick-making potential similar to the likes of Blitzcrank and Thresh while being exponentially safer. Along with this, he's a potent teamfight threat with his ultimate resets. Overall, he's a snowbally champion who can provide pressure at all stages of the game. Mobile, slippery, dangerous, and able to carry teamfights, Pyke is a champion that any support trying to 1v9 games needs to master. For players new to support or trying to develop fundamentals, Pyke is not the best pick. In return for all of his strengths, he lacks wave clear and has a high learning curve. Before picking up Pyke, players need to develop a strong understanding of wave management and utilizing roam timers. Up next on our list is Talon. What makes Talon strong is his ability to snowball his own lane and also impact other lanes. Talon's one-shot potential and map mobility make him an excellent solo queue pick. His all-in potential in lane forces his opponents to play scared, opening up opportunities for him to gank side lanes. After finishing Tiamat, he's able to push waves almost instantly, allowing him to constantly threaten his enemies with roams. A common theme with our picks is their ability to excel in any matchup. In situations where he struggles, Talon can instead farm safely and then leave lane to roam elsewhere. Rather than trying to outplay his lane opponent, he can go kill their teammates and still call it a win. With his flex potential in both top and mid, there's also plenty of opportunities to pick him. Another strength he has is his ability to jump over walls. While it primarily serves as a way for him to roam more effectively, it also acts as a reliable escape tool. After burning ultimate to kill a target, he can use his E to traverse through the jungle and avoid death. Number 4 on our list is Pantheon. Pantheon pressures his opponents with an oppressive lane phase and continues that momentum by pressuring the rest of the map after level 6. Players with strong macro knowledge, understanding of relative strength, and wave management are able to abuse Pantheon's ultimate and snowball games out of control. It's not uncommon for Pantheon to win his lane and win his teammates' lane for them by crashing from the sky and crushing his foes. Some of his accessory strengths are the fact that he can be played in 3 roles, 4 if you include support with a mage bottom, his point-and-click CC, and his strong tower diving. Whether it's alone or with the help of his teammates, Pantheon's ability to eat 2 tower shots for free makes it so that even turrets aren't safe for his opponents. Again, with a strong understanding of wave management, players can abuse level advantages and power spikes to set up free dives and take enemies out of the game altogether. Pantheon is able to accelerate games, constantly find fights to create numbers advantages, and take objectives off of them. Kicking off our top 3 is Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate is a champion who can abuse his map pressure similarly to Pantheon. What makes him different is that he scales well and essentially wins by going even because of his passive. The range on his wild card and free mana from his blue card make it so that he can almost always at least find income through minions. As of recently, an AD build with Kleptomancy has also gained popularity, making him a more well-rounded and adaptable pick. Due to this, he's able to fit into any team composition. As a ranged champion with CC, Twisted Fate is one of the strongest abusers of wave management. In order to maintain freezes and set up ganks, he virtually puts himself at no risk because of the distance he can maintain between himself and his lane opponent. Another key strength is what differentiates his ultimate from Pantheon's. He's able to reveal the location of all his opponents. This allows players to make more informed decisions and see clearly whether the plays they're going for are safe. Revealing stealth units is an added bonus. Global presence, safety, scaling, point-and-click CC, and utility makes Twisted Fate an all-around great pick for players of all skill levels. Our number 2 pick goes to Riven. Countless pro players like The Shy, Viper, and Forbidden found their humble roots maining her in solo queue. What makes Riven a strong pick is her damage and mobility. Excelling in both long-term and burst damage, she's able to find kills in many more situations than other champions. In terms of mobility, how many other champions have 4 non-targeted dashes? She's practically designed for highlight reels and outplays. Great Riven players are able to play through all situations. Because of her great scaling and kit that excels at playmaking, great Riven players can create leads in all even or winning matchups. In matchups where she loses, they can confidently play for scaling and wait for opportunities to make game-winning plays. The fact that Riven has access to a shield, mobility, and a stun through her basic abilities means she's able to play any matchup. She has so many options: extend trades with her mobility, use her mobility to take short free ones, or farm safely while using her shield to block poke. To sum it all up, Riven is a champion who can make plays in any situation. The only downside is her learning curve. Once mastered, she's a champion who has countless ways to outplay her opponents and limitless possibilities. Now the moment you've all been waiting for. For our number 1 pick, we choose Kassadin. Equipped with insane mobility and equally insane damage, this Kassadin is a force that can't be stopped once he gets rolling. In spite of the fact that he's not the safest pick, there are ways to work around this. Unsealed Spellbook or Grasp of the Undying are more defensive options Kassadin can take to help him survive hard matchups and transition into the late game. Overall, the pressure that he brings in side lanes, teamfight strength, and his access to backline makes Kassadin the hardest carry in League of Legends. Kassadin is easily one of the strongest split pushers in the game. While side laning, his ultimate allows him to escape any enemies trying to stop him. In the case that they don't, he can instead use it to chase his opponents down the lane and find kills. His team fighting is equally as terrifying. In regards to itemization, Kassadin has the luxury of being able to take one of the strongest AP builds in the game. Naturally, he's able to buy items like Rod of Ages, Zhonya's, and Seraphs that simultaneously make him tankier and stronger. While he's essentially an assassin in the late game, most people don't regard him as one because he doesn't fill the same glass cannon archetype that most do. At max rank, Rift Walk has a 2-second cooldown, so he's able to stick on to carries harder than any other champion. This results in Kassadin having incomparable amounts of flexibility in his target selection. He can basically choose any target he wants in the late game and guarantee their death. With all that said, that concludes our top 10 champions for carrying solo queue. Thanks for watching, and again, you can check out our YouTube channel or ProGuides.com for more content like this. On ProGuides.com, we've partnered with pro players to create courses designed to help you take your game to the next level, so don't miss out on that stuff. Good luck out there on the Rift, and we will see you all next time.